I am Satyendra Srivastav, a medical doctor turned social worker. I took over Samata as director in 2017. Samata stands for Society for Motivational Training and Action. It's working in district Dehradun, in Chakrata Mountains, in the state of Uttarakhand, in Indian Himalayas. Samata was registered as a voluntary agency in 1986. It works as a grassroots implementing agency for primary education, watershed development, and community-based organizations. With COVID, things became even more difficult. Raising funds without visiting donors or corporate social responsibility officers was not easy. Because of COVID, staff could not move into the field and implement various programs or do feasibility studies for new ideas. We had to close down our school and shift over to online education through WhatsApp, even though connectivity is a big issue in the mountains. But we had to go ahead with all these changes. There were not many choices. I think the biggest challenge at this time was a sense of loneliness. Our Spanish donors, Manos Unidas, had postponed their trip due to COVID, and we were not free to visit our own communities in the villages. It seemed we were all alone in a big world full of uncertainties. All this had financial implications too. So at this time we were also in touch with the Ismail Foundation, and so far we had used mostly phones and emails as per the needs to communicate with our community and the donors. But we decided to go for crowdfunding, even though it always seemed a fantastic idea to me, too good to be true. I was skeptical, frankly speaking. So we started a crowdfunding campaign on milap.org, which is a popular site, and we began building an appeal on it. We faced a big challenge, and the challenge was, how could we win readers' trust in a short span of few minutes online? Because Samta, after all, is not a big organization. We don't have a huge media presence. So we researched and found some references to our work in public media, in newspapers, and we began quoting these references in this online campaign and use these to build up our campaign, to build up our credibility that Samta is a real organization and Samta is actually doing something for primary education in the Himalayas. The second challenge was to find a good relevant video to convey the difficulties students face to earn good education, because the premise which we were trying to put forth was that because children are traveling such huge distances in the Himalayas to come to our school, they are going through so many difficulties, therefore they deserve much better education, and to offer them better education we need a little extra funds. So that was our line of reason, a line of logic. But we didn't have a video or a good photograph to convey this complex idea. Finally, we found a short BBC video explaining the difficulties of schooling in the Himalayas. And so we used this video, and eventually our campaign began to read like a good, cohesive and convincing appeal. Another challenge was to provide regular, interesting updates to the donors, because school and our main office, from where we communicate with the outside world and where internet connection is available, are separated by 80 kilometers. So it's nearly impossible to send an email from the school which is up in the mountains. So we have to get the information from the school somehow to Vikasnagar, our main coordination office, and from here somebody will put it as an update on milap.org or say a line of thank you to the donors on Facebook. So somehow we continued thanking donors on and off Facebook. Some donors donated even twice and more than twice. Some even visited the school before the epidemic and again when there was a lull in the epidemic. So now I'll come to the output. Beginning June 2018, we have raised over rupees 3 lakhs, which is like 15%, one-sixth of our total long-term target. Our investment has been access to internet mostly. It is a good return for our efforts because these crowd funds often fulfill a need which straight-jacketed projects do not. They offer us a little bit of flexibility and creativity in our work in the field. So I personally have learned some lessons, so has Samta, my colleagues in Samta. One thing which we have learned is this, that crowdfunding is a real phenomena and it does deliver goods. And second thing which we have understood is this, that all of us who are working in small voluntary agencies must update our online skills and keep on learning. This is the language of tomorrow. And next thing which we understood was this, that thanking donors is very important. We must thank them regularly on social media because when we thank somebody on Facebook, the message has a ripple effect. Many more people read that, they get curious and they get in touch. Other thing which we discovered was this, that very often those donors who are not on Facebook, sending them an individualized email is much better than sending a general email to more than one people. Other important understanding was this, that we built up a much better relationship with the donor. Putting up good photographs, good small videos is very important, very useful. And we have also understood one thing, that small funds can snowball into substantial funds. Of course, what we have at milab.org, it's called Support Samta School, and give us feedback. With best wishes and namaste. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Khalid Karim. I am a Nigerian living in Nigeria and the founder of the Butterfly Project. The Butterfly Project is a not-for-profit and our tagline is for women and girls. This tagline guides our work, which is ensuring that we contribute as much as we can to improving the quality of lives of women and girls in our country, Nigeria. Before the pandemic, our project focus was on providing access to digital skills training for women at no cost. We felt that the global economy is a quite huge one, and if we could help these women learn relevant digital skills, they can leverage this economy to earn even on platforms that are not bound by location and geography. Of course, when the pandemic started, it became irresponsible to bring people together in a physical location, so we had to put that project on the back burner. As the numbers rose in Nigeria, the government instituted an initial 2-week lockdown in March 2020. When this lockdown was announced, I was very worried because a lot of us could afford to go to the market and get some food stuff that we're going to keep at home, so that if we couldn't go out, then we had something to feed ourselves with. But not everybody could do that. What about the daily earners in Nigeria? People who, if they don't work for that day, then they don't earn any money for that day. And if they don't earn any money, then there is no way that they can feed themselves and their families. I was very worried about this. So I thought about a campaign. I had to do something. So I thought about a campaign, and then I named it the 1 for 1 with 5K campaign. Now, the very first place that I shared this campaign on was on WhatsApp. I put it on my status and I was like, hey guys, so there is this campaign that I really want you guys to be a part of. It's termed 1 for 1 with 5K. And what I really need you to do is, if you can, please send 5,000 naira to somebody who you know that money would make a huge difference to. And then I reached out. I sent a WhatsApp message to my friend and said, hey, this is a campaign that I'm doing. Is there somebody around you that you'd be willing to give 5,000 naira to? So she said, sure, that she'd really love to do that. And she was the very first person who made a transfer through this campaign. But soon enough, I got messages from other people on my WhatsApp saying, would really like to participate, but we're not in a place where we can find somebody to give this money to. Can we send it to you and you can make the transfer on our behalf? So I was like, this is a dimension of the project that I hadn't even thought about before. But sure, I'd be willing to do it, because at that point there was a short list of people that we could send the money to. So I thought, let me not just keep this within my circle. Maybe there are other people who want to help. So I went on Instagram. The two major platforms that I leveraged were WhatsApp and Instagram. I went on Instagram, I shared about this campaign, and the initial response that we got just made me realize that a lot of times people really want to help, but maybe they don't know how to, or they don't know where to direct that help to. Because immediately I shared about the campaign, there was this outpouring of support on Instagram, on WhatsApp. People really wanted to help. And so I partnered with somebody else. Her name is Fumi. She's the founder of Immoral Foundation. I partnered with her, and then we created a list of women across 4 low-income communities that could use that help. In the very first 10 days of this campaign, we raised 1 million naira. I was shocked. To tell you the truth, I was shocked. I don't know what I expected, but I did not expect that. So what created a list, when we got the money, we matched it to individuals and families. And so we transferred the amount, the first 1 million naira that we raised, we transferred it to 144 families. Of course, we're updating people. We're sharing screenshots of the transfers on Instagram, on WhatsApp. We're sharing the screenshots of the transfers that we made. Of course, we're very conscious about privacy, so we're blanking names, but we're just trying to stay accountable to the public who trusted us with their money. Even after we raised that amount, there were still so many people who wanted to support, who were reaching out to say, oh, I'd like to donate. Can I still donate? Are there still people that you have to match, and all of that? So in another less than a week, we raised 500,000 naira. And for this tranche of distribution, we focused on individuals living with HIV, because we understood that it must have been hard to get access to the antiretroviral drugs at this time. So by the end of the campaign, we raised about 1.5 million naira, and we transferred this money to 194 families across multiple low-income communities in Nigeria. It was something. And the major challenge that we experienced was that a lot of those people did not have their own individual bank account details. So what we did was identify somebody in the community who had a bank account detail that we could transfer the money to. So in some cases, we sent money for as much as 10 people to one person's bank account. And after we sent that money, because for every person that we sent money to, we had their phone numbers. So even when we did a bulk transfer for multiple people to one person's account, we would call the people who were supposed to get the money and say, hey, did you get this money? We worked with them to choose the people whose bank accounts they wanted us to use, since they didn't have individual bank account details. And so we reached out to them even after transferring the money, and they confirmed to us that they got the money. And I mean, the project expanded beyond anything that we could have imagined, and it was just such a great thing to see practically, that because this money was raised basically from WhatsApp and Instagram, and it was such a learning moment for us as an organization and in implementing that project. Thank you very much.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Mayara Brilhante. I am CEO of Parceiros Brilhantes. It's a non-profit organization based in Manaus, like you said, JP, in the heart of Amazonia. Parceiros Brilhantes has as a mission, actually, to give opportunities to people who are in need. And we work based in issues that we received online. Our organization works with human rights, health, education, environment, generation of work and income, and emergency situations. So this is what we do here in Parceiros Brilhantes.
Perfect. And Mayara, you lead a very young organization. You were, as you told me before, you started working 2019. You were formally founded last year. And there is one specific case that happened online that you, as an organization, were able to make a very good impact in someone's life story. And could you share with us a little bit about this case that happened last year that actually involves a very famous international celebrity?
Yeah, sure. Last year we had the case which was very successful for us when we got attention from Madonna, our star, actually. because she posted something on her social medias from a woman that was dancing her music, her song actually, Holidays. And I saw this post on Twitter and I started to follow her because I wanted to know what was happening with that woman. And later we just found that woman she was known by Marina Silva Manaus, but her name is Maria. So she had problems with drugs, and we found her and we gave her some chances, a good opportunity to change her life. She went to rehab, and she also got a new smile, and now she's with her family. And before this, actually, when we first found Maria, I posted a picture on Twitter also, and we said, "Hey, Madonna, we found Maria, and thanks to you, she's going to rehab and she has a new opportunity in her life." And Madonna just reposted that, so we got this attention, and the media was with us all the time. So we had some interviews and some donations also, and this was the first big history for our project last year.
And all of this during the COVID crisis, the pandemic we are going through. So you've been able to make the most from this opportunity. Of course, it's a very interesting story. I invite you all to watch the video as well. And you've been since then using digital tools and digital approaches to raise funds, to communicate with people and with your communities. So how has this been working for you during these hard times? Have you been able to fundraise online or through social media?
Yeah, since we were in this pandemic time, the internet was our territory. It still is, actually. So we use all the digital tools to make the difference for us. What we do, actually, we have more than, let me see now, 50,000 followers on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. We basically choose that social media because it's where we have more followers and engagement. So this is the main tools for us. And we use these by creating some storytelling videos, posts, cards that show to people what we do. Actually, we have an office actually in Manaus. We have a team work on it, but it's online that we work the most. So because of the internet and all the digitals and also some softwares that we paid to, to have this engagement around, it's the main reason that we are so successful. Like, since I am a journalist, I have this media expertise to use with my team. So I think this is the difference, like, between our project and the other projects here. So basically, we are online, but also offline with some actions that we do every time.
Yeah, and I'm a manager, and I don't have half of your expertise. I envy you for that. So you just to be clear, you've achieved a total of around 50,000 followers on all your social media in pretty much 1 year of work.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Wow, fantastic. And
more than old projects like who has history in Brazil, for example.
Of course, sure, fantastic. And you're there in Manaus, in the Amazon rainforest. It is a big city, but it's not as being São Paulo or Rio de Janeiro or a metropolis or a big city as a capital of economic capital. But anyway, you've done such an amazing job in so short time. Now, for us to end. What are the key lessons you think you've learned from this experience about the potential there is on digital fundraising, considering that you are working for grassroots communities? So would like to share something with us as well?
Sure. The first lesson is everyone is online. So we have to take advantage
even in the Amazon rainforest, right?
Even in the Amazon, yes. You everywhere you go, you see people using cell phones or tablets, everywhere you go. So we need to take advantage of this. We need to use the online universe to attack, and this was the first lesson for us. And digital fundraising is cheaper comparing to other kind of tools. So for us, like, we can invest in some medias, we can pay them, and we get a good return from these, a good feedback. And also the online universe is given huge potential to give more other potentials to reach people faster and than the other traditional way. So these were the lessons that we just learned from the past year. And since we have this pandemic time, all this chaos happening, these stranger times that we call it here, we need to understand how people are working now. People are going to their, I don't know, people are working at home actually. So we need to take advantage of this. We born in the middle of the first wave in Manaus. And we also have another example to tell, like we have this lack of oxygen and the break of the health, the system here, the health system here. So we also use the online tools, Instagram, Facebook, and all the videos online to get more donations. So this year in January, we reached more than 1 million of reais in donations. So just using Instagram.
On live streaming.
Yeah,
Instagram.
and other social medias. But Instagram for us was the first media that we could reach people in Brazil and around the world. So we got donations from Europe, from US, from Canada, Brazil, and
Wow.
we could help the people here. What we did, we basically gave a lot of support to people here, the victims of coronavirus. So we are very happy to make part of this. Unfortunately, it was in these strange times because we lost a lot of people, but we also saved a lot of them. And we're still learning from internet, we're still learning from people. And for us, it's a pleasure to help, it's a pleasure to learn. And for us, it's an opportunity to be online. I hope we still, I think this online universe has no boundaries, so we can go wherever.